you have been asking, whatever happened to the Studebaker? Well, we had some little misfortunes with this car. You can see it's all torn apart. So we took the car to the racetrack to see how the cam timing change. This was actually before we ran the Fairmont. We wanted to see what my cam timing change on the exhaust did to the horsepower output. And we took the car to the track and didn't really seem to pick up, like, at all. In fact, it kind of ran worse. And the more boost I threw at it, it didn't really seem to make a difference. So it finally got to the end of the day where basically I played around with the exhaust cam. I changed it one tooth either way, and it didn't really make a difference. And then when I made my last change during the day, the car would not really run at all. I could have the accelerator to the floor and it would just kind of and I could at least move the car because I happened to win the race that I was competing in, because it wasn't a test and tune, so I had to jump in a class, but I happened to win that race. So I was able to limp it up to the winner's circle and accept my trophy, but I just barely made it. But what we found out was the problem was our timing chain tensioner is very much collapsed. So based on the amount of wear that the engine has on it, and the timing chain will naturally stretch, this guy should probably be sticking out probably about that far. And it was fully collapsed when I took the engine apart. And you could take the timing chain and you could, move it much more than that. This whole piece here could. So that was a big issue. The other consequence of that was the timing mark on the crankshaft is supposed to line up with these different colored chain links, and it was about 3 teeth off. So I didn't really take note of which direction it went. I'm just glad that it doesn't appear that anything has been broken. I don't think any valves are bent. It still makes plenty of compression when I turn the engine over with a ratchet. But with that, while the thing's apart, basically what I'm doing here is I am installing a new timing chain tensioner and new shoes. I'm putting a brand new timing chain in there while I'm at it. I'm going to put a brand new, I have put a brand new VVT actuator into the car, and I'm putting a brand new VVT solenoid into the car because I want to put the Megasquirt Gold Box back on the car and actually try to get it to control the variable valve timing. As you'll see in the future, Richard Holdner, I'm sure you guys are familiar with his name. He is planning to do an episode, a Big Bang episode on one of these engines very soon. And basically, he wants a ECU that can run a boosted engine and control the variable valve timing, because he wants to sort out the roots of what makes the most power before he blows it up. Basically what that means is I'm probably one of the only people in the country that has one of these running with a Megasquirt product and has the ability to sort the variable valve timing out. So it basically falls on me. I need to get that working so that Richard Holdner can use it on a engine dyno and have something that works. So I'm going to help him out there. Hopefully he returns the favor a little bit and maybe pumps the channel a little bit. That would be great. But while I'm in here, I guess I'll continue on. I am upgrading to an 06 and later camshaft. They are roughly 24 thousandths lift greater than a 2005 and earlier cam. And that's just low lift. Once you factor in the rocker ratio, it's even more. What I found out is, I didn't know this. I thought they went to bigger cams across the board. What it turns out is they only went to a bigger intake cam. The exhaust cam is exactly the same across all of the years. So, not a big deal, whatever, I don't really care. But we are going to go to a larger camshaft on the intake and kind of see what that does. You'll notice it's still the same head. I'm not going to bother with that. But one other thing that I'm working on is I am changing the turbo setup again. So you'll see there are two wastegates on this exhaust manifold, and that is because I have welded dividers in here. And I have basically made it so the back 3 cylinders and the front 3 cylinders are divided between each other. And you basically have a 3-into-1 which goes into this port and a 3-into-1 that goes into this port. That is how you should do a divided T4 on a inline 6. And I'm going to do that because I am going to run a divided T4 turbo. So another thing that we found out at the track is the 60 foot was total garbage. I mean, it was like 1.7 60 foot, and it was running through the 8th at just under 100 miles per hour. And it should be probably 1.5-ish 60 foot, so it was way off on the 60 foot, and I am pretty sure that can be attributed to the how the turbo is spooling. I think the turbo is not, the 7875 that I had on the car, I think that was too big, and the car is not spooling like it should. So going to the divided T4 should help it to spool faster. And it's a smaller turbine, so that should spool faster as well. So this is the turbo. It's another eBay special. It is a billet 62 on that side with a divided T4 with a 1.00 AR housing and a 65 millimeter turbine on this side. Yeah, something I always say to people is people are always focused on this big shiny thing in front, but what you really need to be paying attention to is this side, because this is where all the power, all the hopes and dreams are made or broken on this side of the turbo. This side, yeah, it's shiny and it's fancy, but most of the time you're going to run out of flow on this side before you're going to run out of flow on this side. So we're going to throw this bad boy on there and we'll see how it does. Without further ado, let's get this thing back together and get this thing sorted out. So let's get to work. guys, so you'll notice the car is all back together. We installed the new turbo. We've done a bunch of upgrades here and there. One thing that I did is I installed a pressure sensor onto, I thought this was an EGR here, but it turns out it's an air injection solenoid. It actually has little tubes that go to each and every exhaust port. So I installed a sensor onto this block-off plate, and I'm going to read my exhaust back pressure on that port. So that's one little change. Also, something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I have pinned the damper. BHJ recommends that you pin the damper. But I've also added a pointer so that I can measure my ignition timing. I was doing that before, but I just did it with a piece of weld rod, and now I have something a little more permanent so I can refer back to it. Another thing you will notice is the ignition coils are different. I removed the LS coils, and I'm actually running 06 and later coils. These are 02 to 05 ignition coils. That's what they originally look like. The problem with those is they don't put out very much spark energy, and you end up running into spark blowout when you run too much boost. So I went to LS coils before just because I wanted something that was reliable and I knew would work. But after testing the Fairmont out, we discovered that these ignition coils work quite well, and I've also heard from others that they are essentially LS coils on the inside. So, something I've been wanting to do for a while is make nice coil adapters to basically change from these coils to the later coils. The later coils are a different style though, so they look like this, but they don't look very nice when you put them into the hole, and dirt and grime can get down in there. So I 3D printed these nice little adapters. They use the original gasket, and so you just slip the coil down into the coil adapter, and then you pop it into the socket, and it looks like a factory install. You just gotta figure out where the spark plug is. There's the spark plug. And then you install your longer bolt, and it looks a lot more aesthetically pleasing. So I plan to start selling those coil adapters. I'm planning to do like a 6-cylinder kit will be $100 shipped to the lower 48, and a 5-cylinder $90, 4-cylinder will be $80. And I'm going to do a separate video on those, just showing you how to use them, how to install them, that sort of thing. So look out for that. That's coming very soon. But I think that's about it for updates. So let's take this thing out and see what it can do. The sound of the new turbo. It sounds so good. Oh no! Construction. Welcome to PA. Whistle. Isn't that the best?
Yeah.
Alright, let's just turn around. So much fun. little bit of tire smoke though, you know. He's got it running again. Alright guys, so that was a successful voyage to see if this thing is all fixed. I think we got it licked, and I'm super happy to have this car running again. This is probably my favorite car to drive, and it's good to have it functional again. So the next time you'll see this car, it will be on the dyno, and we're going to see what this thing likes for RPM. We're probably going to take it above the factory rev limiter, and also sneak peek, I have the VVT working with the gold box on this engine, so we're going to be able to manipulate that and see how much power this thing picks up with what angle on the cam, rather than kind of guessing with just throwing a raw duty cycle at it. So look forward to that. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Well, I miss this car. I miss this car a lot. It makes such good noises. There's nothing like it.